I do think that the alt-right, we've gone from being a movement that was not connected to the political mainstream, not connected to the political fray. We now are. People are paying attention to us. People are looking at us. We need to think of ourselves as a mainstream movement that's going to reach people, because we do have that power.
People are paying attention. That was Richard Spencer, the founder of part of the so-called alt-right movement, this morning with Roland Martin on NewsOne Now. And Roland Martin joins me now. Everyone has been talking about this guy, including, as I mentioned, President-elect Donald Trump today. Yep. Why was it important for you to sit face-to-face with him, and what did you learn about him in that setting?
Well, this is the second time I've had him on my show. I talked to him during the election. I also had a White Lives Matter activist when they had a protest down in Houston, where I am right now, my native city. And he is the extreme in terms of white nationalists. He wants to call himself the alt-right. But the reality is, when you look at polls, when you look at studies out there are many whites out there who also hold his views. They're not as overt. They're covert, and I think we're seeing that. I think we've been making a huge mistake as we've been breaking down the election results. The reality is this here: Donald Trump denies he played a role in it. No, he pushed those buttons. He knew exactly what he was doing. Steve Bannon knew exactly what he was doing at Breitbart as well. And what we're dealing with, Ari, right now in America, we're dealing with white fear. We saw this after Reagan's election in 1984. Demographics are changing in America. By 2044, there'll be no one major, there'll be no one group that's a majority in this country. We are in for a 30-year battle between now and 2044. We better get prepared for it.
Well, what you just said about the link with Trump and what we're seeing an establishment newspaper like the New York Times raise directly to him on the record is much farther along, to my observation, than where we were a year ago in terms of what people were willing to say and confront about some of these uncomfortable linkages. I want to read and get your response. The Southern Poverty Law Center, which focuses on this, about the Trump role, saying, quote, "He's pretending he has no idea why his election has energized the newest incarnation of the white supremacist movement, alt-right. The reason he's energized them is simple. He's been playing its tune from the day he announced calling Mexican immigrants rapists, proposal to ban Muslims, mass deportation, attack on political correctness. It's all been music to the ears of a movement that envisions a white America, and exactly the America the alt-right wants to see." When you confronted Richard about European Americans, there was some euphemism, though, as well.
Oh, look, he was using all the code language, and oh no, I'm not a white supremacist, and I want all of us to be here, but this is about us, and we're afraid that we're not getting these jobs. You know what that says? We don't like diversity. Oh, we're afraid that these companies are not hiring white men. That means they don't like inclusion. That's what all of this means. And again, he is very overt. Then you have those people who are covert. The studies back him up. Thomas Edsall, the New York Times, had a piece earlier this week talking about studies after 1984 where white voters were saying that Democratic Party, you've done too much for black folks and for immigrants and for the poor, you're taking my money. We have to understand this. And look, you know, I listen to Morning Joe every day driving into work, and I've been tweeting Joe and Mika saying, hey guys, y'all are missing this whole thing. This thing is so much deeper. We keep saying economic angst. No, this is literally what people say, America's changing. Take our country back. Make America great again. No, it's trying to go back to a time when literally white culture dominated America. People are seeing the writing on the wall. They're seeing that you're now going to have share space with African Americans and Latinos and others, and that is hard for people, and that's real. And I don't think, Ari, we really want to get down and dirty with that. You know, my buddy Cornell Belcher, the pollster, has been writing about that in his new book. And look, I was reading on the plane, talking about a black man in the White House, how Obama really made that happen.
So
in
why
2009,
do you think
I told John.
Yeah, I just want to get one more question in because we're running out of time.
Yeah, go ahead.
The language of victimization, which I heard in the interview, while you confronted him about hosting an event where people are literally going high, you know, in the air, and you confronted him on that while he's using the language of that they're the victims, in your view, why?
Because that's a part of this deal, because I said in 2009 to John Avlon, with the election of Obama, you're about to see white minority resistance. This whole idea of, oh my goodness, things are so bad for us. It's in the polling data. We've simply been ignoring it because there's this belief that all of these things are being done for everybody else but us. But the reality is everybody else has been playing catch up. We have been a white dominant culture, America, since our inception. And what you're facing in, whether it's in big cities or in small towns, there's a fear of how America is changing. And trust me, we're seeing this in education, in business. We're seeing this in all aspects. We have to deal with it. It is here. It's not going anywhere, Ari. It's real.
Author, analyst, journalist Roland Martin, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks a bunch.